It's time for the Sports Blitz, the only live-streamed local sports show in Arkansas, with all the latest on the sports stories that matter to you.
What's going on, River Valley? Thank you for joining us today on the Sports Blitz. Mark Freeman and nobody in studio with me today, but Matty Laster's here. He might turn on his microphone again today and utter a few, classic words or wise words today, but we're glad you've chosen to join us. We've got a busy show for you today, and we're going to have to get after it here pretty quickly. We've got Josh Cook from American Ninja Warrior. He made it all the way to Vegas, made it through a round in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, and plus some more. It's not even aired yet. We're going to talk to him here in just a moment. We're also going to look at Razorback football. We're going to preview some high school football, and the NFL kicks off tomorrow. The Ravens and the Broncos from Denver. So we've just got a ton of stuff to talk about today. Thank you for joining us at rivervalleyleader.com. Let's start real quickly with our Peters Family Living local sports look. We've got high school football kicking off tomorrow. Well, it actually kicked off last night because Hector got a big win, 49-8 over Hartford in a non-conference matchup. Hector's got to turn around and play again Friday too. So they played a Tuesday, Friday, but chances are their coaches knew that they were going to beat Hartford pretty bad, and they made sure to get their starters out and get them some rest, knowing that they were going to win and that they had another game on Friday. They play Two Rivers on Friday, so that's going to be a big one for the Hector Wildcats. Big win, though. Congratulations to those guys on the opening season win. I'm sure it was a good chance for some backups to get some action, and it was a good chance for those guys to get out there and work the nerves out in the first game, so that means Two Rivers is going to be in for it this week on Friday against Hector. Now, Hector and Two Rivers, I think Hector's in 2A and and Two Rivers is in 3A, if I'm not mistaken. So it's one of those things where Two Rivers has won the last couple years. Yeah, I'm looking at some notes from Jason Kilburn, who'll join me here in just a little bit. He sent me some high school football notes, and he talked about a couple of things from that game. Hector starting a freshman quarterback, Tanner Gaines. We've heard a lot of good things about him, and two running backs, Nichols and Brashear. So they had a big game last year where Two Rivers just handled Hector, but this year Hector's looking to make things a little different. And then also our featured game of the week with rivervalleyleader.com, Ryan Smith, our new intern, is going to be at Pottsville for the Apaches and Heber Springs. It's going to be a good game there. It was last year in the rain. This year, hopefully, that'll hold off, and he'll be able to watch a good game. I'll be live in Morrilton for Russellville and the Cyclones against the Morrilton Devil Dogs. It was a 20-12 game last year, and it was a really good one. And from what I've heard, I think it was Garrett was here the other day, Coach Hill was telling me that Morrilton just absolutely dominated a scrimmage the other day with Ozark, who was a 4A state championship game attendee last year. So Morrilton looks to be pretty good. Russellville is expecting to be very good this year in the 6A, so that's going to be a fun game. I'll get some pictures of the first half of that game, and then we'll get along to another game on Friday night. But those games are, those are rivalry games, and those are good games to start the season. But then we've got some real deal, true blue rivalry games that kick off on Friday night. The Rivals Cup, for those of you in Dover and Atkins, you know all about that game. Those schools, those teams, those players do not like one another. The former players who have been involved in this game in the past do not like one another. I was there the last couple of years watching on the sideline, and it was venomous, to say the least, as Atkins and Dover played one another. That's going to be a great game on Friday night. Dover wasn't able to compete really well last year, but the new coach they've got in, he was there last year as well, guy from Stuttgart. Look for Dover to return to prominence here in the near future. Luke Price, sophomore quarterback. They're going to be very good in the near future. Atkins, Tommy Cody just changed the culture instantly there in Atkins when he came in and took over. So that one's going to be fun. And then last year in the Judges Cup, which is Dardanelle-Danville, you saw a 33-0 Dardanelle win. Danville 3A power, Dardanelle a 4A power, 4A conference team there in Dardanelle. The Sand Lizards were able to just overpower, outmuscle, outspeed Danville, and Danville's looking to counteract that this year. Although Dardanelle does have a transfer from Pulaski Robinson, I think Jason has his name as Christian Thompson, but I thought it was Tristan Thompson. Either way, he accounted for over 2,000 yards last year at Pulaski Robinson, and he's looking to be the starter there for Dardanelle. So I'm looking for a good game there in the Judges Cup as well. Those teams, I think that's at Dardanelle. That's going to be another really, really good game. Look for an article today by Ryan Smith, our intern. Let him know what you think about it, too, by the way, whenever you read it. He's going to write about rivalry games and just how in the first couple weeks of the year in high school it's very unique to this area, how Dardanelle-Danville, Dover-Atkins, Russellville-Morrilton, and some of these schools that just do not like one another are playing on the first week of the season, and just the atmosphere around the school, the atmosphere around town when rivals play one another, especially close in proximity. When those towns are close in proximity, it's always cool to see how that works out. So look for that article later today. The Clarksville Panthers, my alma mater, traveling to Charleston, who is a very good 3A team. They've got a quarterback that you might have heard of. He's going to go play for the University of Arkansas. Ty Story, a big time recruit there at Charleston, who is the quarterback coming back from injury. And then we've also got, I mentioned Hector. They're playing Two Rivers on Friday. They took on Hartford last night. And then Lamar plays Gravett Friday night. That's a 4A versus a 3A matchup there, as Lamar is trying to, I guess you could say, upset Gravett, who's supposed to be pretty good in the 4A. And then you've got, let's see. No, I think that's it. That's all the teams that we have covering in this area. We need your help on Friday nights. We're going to do our best to, and there's some things coming on this, I hope, as far as news goes, but we're going to do our best to keep a running scoreboard at facebook.com/RVL News by our Sports Blitz staff and from you. So what we're going to do, we're not going to be able to be at every game every week. We're going to pick a game of the week, and then I'm going to go to another game. So we'll have two teams from the area covered, at least maybe up to 4 if 2 teams from the area are playing one another in both games. But we need your score. So if you're traveling to a game, say Pottsville's on the road or Clarksville's on the road, and you're at that game, if you can come to facebook.com/RVL News and comment below our status that we'll have every week with the scoreboard, with your scores every time the team scores or every quarter or just whenever you get around to commenting. By the end of the game, by the end of the night, anybody who wants to go to facebook.com/RVL News can know the scores from around the River Valley instantly. They won't have to wait for the news that night. They won't have to wait till tomorrow. They can find out right now. And I feel like that's going to be an awesome opportunity for us to meet the needs of the River Valley. And by the end of the night, you'll know all you need to know about the local games that took place on Friday night. So you can help us out there. And if you want any information out about your team, we've got several schools who do a good job of that. Dardanelle, Pottsville, Russellville does a good job in Clarksville, but if your school does not send us information and you wonder why they're not being covered, hey, you can send us information, or you can encourage an athletic director or a coach to send us information. Mark@rivervalleyleader.com is my email, and I will not turn anything away. So if you send me information on a game or a team, I will do my best to post it. We've got some coaches who are understandably busy, and they have not sent in some of their information in past years, but we want to do as good a job as we can. So if you're interested in that and you think your coach might be interested in knowing that, we've contacted every athletic director in the area at least once trying to ask for information. But if you want to get your coach to get in his ear and really get this taken care of, email Mark@rivervalleyleader.com. We would love to have your information. Actually, I need to add another school to that, Lamar. They do a really good job as well of sending in their information. So I'm looking forward to a great high school football season, looking forward to a lot of good things in this upcoming football season. We just love football around here. And not only, Maddie, is it football season, it's volleyball season as well. So the defending 6A champion Russellville Lady Cyclones got a chance to go out there and defend that. I saw another River Valley news guy. His name's Kevin Taylor in Fort Smith. He writes for the Times Record, and he was calling you out, Russellville. He was saying that Greenwood's going to win 3 volleyball championships in a row starting this year. They're going to have to come through the Lady Cyclones, and I'm looking forward to seeing if they can do that, because I know that the Russellville Lady Cyclones have got some talent back. And it's going to be fun to see this year how they turn out in volleyball as well. So I don't want to leave those volleyballers out. If you've got a talented volleyball team, let me know about it. I'm going to go watch Clarksville play this afternoon too. So 6 o'clock there at the Marvin Vincent Center if you want to come watch the Lady Panthers take the volleyball court. Finally, in local sports, we've got Arkansas Tech, who's traveling tomorrow to open their season on the road at Northwest Oklahoma. They'll kick off at 7 o'clock. The new era of college football at Arkansas Tech University and Raymond Monica's new regime kicks off tomorrow on the road. A Thursday night kickoff. If I'm Coach Monica, I think I like being on the road for my first game. You get to work out all those kinks before you come home, before the home crowd, whatever situations that you have to figure out. You'll know a little bit more about your team by the end of this week as you leave Alva, Oklahoma. But you'll have a chance to work out all the different things that you need to iron out. You'll know who your starting quarterback is. It was a question for a little while. You'll know who you can count on skill position-wise. You'll know who your defensive stalwarts are going to be. So I'm looking forward to seeing Coach Monica when they open up their home slate next Saturday, against Southwestern Oklahoma. They're playing Northwestern this week. They're playing Southwestern next week. That's September the 14th. Doane Stadium at Burkle Field. Looking forward to that one as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing Coach Monica and his team because I think Coach Monica is kind of a Coach Bielema type guy. He's going to coach hard-nosed football. He's a fan of offense, and I don't think Coach Bielema is one of those guys that is just pardon me for saying this, folks that like Houston Nutt. That Houston Nutt, we used to call the boring style where they just run. Oh, let's throw a fullback to the flats, just a little bitty old dink. He's going to be one who's going to be an exciting coach to watch. And the defense at Arkansas Tech, which has been pretty bad for the last several years, is going to take a market improvement in the next couple years under Coach Raymond Monica. So looking forward to that as well. We're going to hit a break because we've got plenty of stuff to cover today. We're looking forward to talking to Josh Cook today, American Ninja Warrior from Pottsville, Arkansas. We'll talk to him about how far he made it. He can't really tell us everything because it's already over, and he's liable by contract to not be able to tell us everything. But we're looking forward to talk to him about his experience with American Ninja Warrior. We're also going to look at college football, the Razorbacks, NFL, and plenty more on today on the Sports Blitz. I can speak.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Over 69 years of treating you like family, Peters Family Living's main goal is customer service. That is their promise to their customers. They offer in-house financing on furniture and appliances and a 30-day money-back guarantee. For a friendly, no-pressure atmosphere, visit Peters Family Living today at 201 North Arkansas Avenue, Russellville. Online at petersfamilyliving.com or call 479-968-2929.
If you didn't count on KARK4 today this morning,
here's what you missed.
Updated news.
Police continue searching for suspects after a home intrusion overnight.
Developing stories.
It's another piece of presidential history turning up here in Arkansas.
And weather and traffic on the force.
Friday night, Saturday morning will bring us our next chance rain.
Every 10 minutes.
Around the clock.
Making your day easier.
So rise and shine and count on.
Count on.
Count on KARK4 today.
Hi folks, Richard Roberts with Cogswell Motors in Russellville. You know, we've been in business since 1949. A dealership doesn't stay in business that long under the same ownership unless you're doing something right, and that's taking care of customers. We have the largest selection of new Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. So if you want the most for your trade, the best interest rate on financing, and the best price on a new or pre-owned automobile, come to Russellville and see us. We're at 1900 East Main, or visit us on the web at cogswellmotors.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Blitz. Mark Freeman and nobody in studio with me today. Maddie Laster is behind the controls, making me sound all pretty. And we thank you for joining us today at rivervalleyleader.com. We're excited right now to be joined by a famous person. We don't get this very often, Maddie. We're joined by Pottsville's own Josh Cook, American Ninja Warrior. He's been on TV, so he's officially famous. Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Doing very well. Actually friends with Garrett Hill, who you went to high school with, I guess, and he was in here the other day, and then Jason gave us the contact and got you in touch with us, and we're appreciative of you taking time to visit with us. We watched your video, your YouTube video. We were trying to grab some screenshots of it as well for our viewers to watch, but you were on American Ninja Warrior. What was that like?
Man, it was the most fun I think I've ever had doing an athletic event.
Yeah, did you play ball growing up?
Yeah, I played baseball.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Garrett told me that you were a pretty good baseball player. Well, I've always wondered with this type of thing because when you watch, and I've watched several of the seasons of American Ninja Warrior, these guys are freak athletes, and they can climb up walls, and they can hang on to ledges with their fingertips and stuff like that. So I wondered what kind of athletic ability it took. Have you ever done anything like this in the past?
No, I mean, not other than training for it, but I have been a rock climber for several years now, so I think that prepared me a lot for the upper body obstacles in the course.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a whole lot of upper body. So just overall, how was the experience? I know you made it from the preliminary things all the way on to Vegas. So how was the entire experience as a whole?
It was awesome. At first I didn't even know if I was going to get on, and then to go as far as I did, it was just an amazing experience.
It sounds like it was a whole lot of fun to be able to make it all the way there. I wondered because I don't get nervous too easily, but I can about guarantee that if I went to Las Vegas and I'm in front of the spotlights and the TV cameras and all this different stuff, it would have made me a little nervous. What was it like for you to be out there in front of all those people and knowing that people in your hometown were going to be able to watch this on TV? What kind of pressure did that feel like?
I think that was the most pressure I've ever had in my life. Before I actually started the course, when I was standing on the platform, I was trying to just keep my breathing calm and stay calm because I was about to have a panic attack. But as soon as I get started, I try to, focus in, and everything else just kind of goes away, and I'm focused on the course.
Yeah, well, it seems like that it worked out pretty well for you. I got to watch a couple of your preliminary Garrett had the replay on his DVR, and I got to watch it. He was kind of proud there as a Pottsville alum to watch one of his own friends get up there and just succeed. It's really cool. For those that don't know anything about American Ninja Warrior, could you fill them in a little bit on, it seems like the final obstacle, they call it Mount Midoriyama, there's only been, 3 or 4 people who have ever completed it?
Yeah, Ninja Warrior originates in Japan, the Sasuke. And there have only been 3 people to ever complete the full course over there. And then it's been over here for a few years now, and we're getting really close to it. So. Yeah,
well, for those that don't know, like we're talking about, it includes a whole lot of strenuous things. There's jumping from place to place and climbing things and swinging from things and just a lot of very, very strenuous activities that you have to take part in. What were your favorite and least favorite obstacles that you had to deal with?
I think one of my favorite obstacles was a jumping spider. It was one of the harder ones, but I had previously went around and checked out shoes like a maniac, made sure I had the right shoes for it. And I think it really, when I stuck it, I knew I was in there, and I knew I was about to just crush this obstacle that so many people had failed on. And I knew it was all because of the shoes that I had on.
That's pretty awesome. Which ones were the hardest? Which ones did you not like?
I would say from the Denver finals, the pole graspers, those were pretty hard. They were really far apart, so it made it pretty tough.
Yeah, those seem like they would be really tough to handle. Some of those things that are just, I would just quit. I would fall in the water on purpose, or whatever it was, and I would just be done with it. I did see in your video the training that you were doing. Talk about what you did to prepare, because you went to some extreme measures to prepare to be on this Ninja Warrior show.
Yeah, my cousin has a course that he replicated a lot of the obstacles on the course, and we'd go up there a couple times a week and train just all day long, get to where we could do basically the course from the previous year, just do it all together, try to break record times and do that every week until it was time to run it.
Yeah, it seemed like that you. I saw some things that I thought were very creative and very interesting, because there are places that on the ones that I've seen before where it's toward the end. There's doors that are heavy doors that you have to lift up, push up, run under. And I saw, and I didn't know at first what you were doing, but you had weights that I guess weighed about as much as the door, and you'd pick it up and lift it above your head, and then you'd put it down and you'd run on. And I thought at first, what in the world is he doing? But it was to replicate that door, wasn't it?
Right, that's exactly what it was. It was the door lift. I forget what it's called, but we didn't have doors, so we just took some weights and did the same, movement.
Yeah, well, that was really cool and very, very interesting to me how you guys did that. Knowing what you know now, and I know you're going to try to go back next year. What are your plans for next year? What are you going to work on? And when are you going to get started? When it actually is the competition? When do you go back?
We don't know when the competition will start. They kind of tell us a month before. They give us a last second. Here it is.
Yeah.
Get ready for it. But I've been training nonstop, and I'm going to train nonstop until next year. I'm going to, any obstacle that I hear of, I'm going to create it and, refine it.
Yeah, well, it seems like that they'll probably throw some monkey wrenches in it, but there's going to be some of those same tough ones that you'll have to do regardless, aren't there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, we look forward to seeing your progress and seeing how far you can make it next. Hey, you're going to be the fourth one, and how many Americans have made it through?
That have completed it?
That have completed Mount Midoriyama?
0.
That's what I thought.
0.
Well, hey, we're going to have the first one from Pottsville, Arkansas. How cool is that?
Awesome.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. We appreciate your time, Josh. I'm going to try to get a hold of you again sometime this afternoon or tomorrow for a story if you've got time. So I think it's an interesting thing. So we'll talk to you later if you don't mind.
All right, thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you very much. That's Josh Cook, American Ninja Warrior from Pottsville, Arkansas. We appreciate him taking time and visiting with us today. We also appreciate Jason Kilburn for getting us the call, and also Garrett Hill, who knows old Josh and has gotten us in contact with him. So we appreciate his time today. Looking forward to watching him on American Ninja Warrior the rest of the season and then also next year. So get to rooting for him. Make your I'm a Ninja Warrior t-shirt or whatever they do, something cool to support Josh. We look forward to seeing how he does in the 2014 competition. Before we move on to, I guess we'll have a break here in just a minute, so I'll just go ahead and spout on for just a couple more minutes. I was interested, and Jason's going to call in here in just a minute, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Hogs and the NFL season. But I was interested, and we didn't get to this the other day, Maddie. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. So turn your stinking microphone on and get ready to talk. I was interested to see how Michael Dyer and Alti Tenpenny did the other day. What'd you think about those two?
I thought Michael Dyer looked really good. Yeah, he didn't have a lot of carries, I know, and neither did Tenpenny. Had, I think, 3 carries for 24 yards, 1 for 22 yards, just one apiece for the others. But still, you can tell when you watch Tenpenny that there's some promise there. But maybe I'm being a homer when I say this, but even watching him, and again, he had limited carries, but we got a bigger sample with Alex Collins, but I would rather have Alex Collins. So I feel like we came out pretty good. Not that you wouldn't love to have both, but Alex Collins is going to be the guy. But yeah, Tenpenny, he looked good, especially when he broke off the 22-yard run.
Tenpenny's going to be so good. Just looking at that Alabama roster, and you've got T.J. Yeldon, who everybody knows, and he's a Heisman Trophy candidate. If he's not now, he will be by the end of the year and into next year. Then they've got Alti Tenpenny, they've also got a guy on their roster who's the all-time leading rusher in high school football history.
Ever.
Like in the history of ever on their roster. So they're stupid loaded. But looking at the Razorbacks, you mentioned Michael Dyer, but you talked about Alex Collins. I wonder if, knowing what you know now about Michael Dyer and the fact that he got in at the end of the game, busted off a long touchdown run, and knowing that Jonathan Williams and Alex Collins both went for over 130 yards, if you're Brett Bielema, would you like to have had Michael Dyer, or would you just say, we've got good backs and we're fine?
Michael Dyer, the player, maybe, but
that's a good point.
That's the thing you would like to think, and obviously Louisville does think that he's cleaned himself up. And again, we've talked about this before. If you look at everything that happened, it's not like Michael Dyer was doing drugs and got caught shooting somebody in the head or something. There were some minor things when he was at Arkansas State, and he had some trouble, but even so, you don't want that kind of trouble, I don't think, especially in your first year. So you just think, he may be really good and he may keep himself, pristine and clean, but I don't think if you're Brett Bielema, you wanted to take that chance. I think it was more about that than, well, he could help us or not.
Well, I was on the side that I knew that Michael Dyer could help, and it was a no-lose situation for the Razorbacks, knowing that we're one injury away from Jonathan Williams, and you watched him walk off holding his shoulder. You think, oh God, he just tore his shoulder up, and it's Alex Collins' show now, and then he's a freshman, he could get hurt. You're one injury away from being in bad shape. So I was one of those who was advocating Michael Dyer, and if he had any problems, if he did anything wrong at all, if he spoke up in a meeting when he wasn't supposed to, just see ya. It was a no-lose situation in my mind with Michael Dyer, but I am excited for him to play well, and I hope he does get his life together. Had a 46-yard touchdown there for Louisville in their season opener. Teddy Bridgewater, 23 of 28, 5 touchdowns there in Louisville's win. I was very interested to see last night I guess it was Monday night, how Jameis Winston just went crazy. I think he was 25 of 27, had 4 touchdowns passing, a touchdown rushing, and was named the Davey O'Brien quarterback of the week, performance of the week. A redshirt freshman at Florida State, just went absolutely crazy. We're bringing Jason in on the line right now. He's going to speak with us for the next probably 45 minutes, or I guess 30 minutes. How you doing today, Jason?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing well. What did you think about Jameis Winston's performance on Monday night?
Man, boy, he's good. Very accurate with his passes, and of course he likes to run the ball. Which I read something the other day that he wanted to go to Texas and would have went to Texas, but Mac Brown didn't offer him a scholarship.
Yeah, Mac Brown's saying now, I saw him this morning on SportsCenter, and he said that he talked to a source very close to the situation that he really trusts, who told him, he might as well not even waste his time. So I'm interested to see what's really true about that. Not that it really matters now. He's at Florida State, so. Anyway, I'm interested to see how Jameis Winston does the rest of the year. They're calling him Famous Jameis already.
Yeah, he's a heck of a baseball player too, man. I mean, it's just a great two-sport athlete.
Yeah. Well, it was a good performance from him as a freshman, his first performance ever. A lot of people talking about him. I heard Trent Dilfer from the Elite 11 camp, and of course he was the co-MVP of the Elite 11 camp, and Trent Dilfer is the one who puts that on. He said he could be the best quarterback ever. So I'm interested to see how that turns out. I know he threw out a base runner at third base from right field playing for the Florida State baseball team. He was also a 5th-round draft pick in the Major League Draft out of high school. So he's a freak athlete, and he's going to be very good in the future. But let's hit a break real quickly. We've got a couple things that we need to take care of, and then we'll look at NFL openers tomorrow, the Broncos and the Ravens. It's going to be a fun one. We'll give our final picks for the Super Bowl. You can't change after today because tomorrow's the first game. We'll also look at the Razorbacks and plenty more.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
You just let me know.
Over 69 years of treating you like family, Peters Family Living's main goal is customer service. That is their promise to their customers. They offer in-house financing on furniture and appliances and a 30-day money-back guarantee. For a friendly, no-pressure atmosphere, visit Peters Family Living today at 201 North Arkansas Avenue, Russellville. Online at petersfamilyliving.com or call 479-968-2929.
If you didn't count on KARK4 today this morning,
Here's what you missed.
updated news,
Police continue searching for suspects after a home intrusion overnight.
developing stories,
There's another piece of presidential history turning up here in Arkansas.
and weather and traffic on the force.
Friday night, Saturday morning will bring us our next chance of rain.
Every 10 minutes.
Around the clock.
Making your day easier.
So rise and shine and count on.
Count on.
KRK4 today.
Hi folks, Richard Roberts with Cogswell Motors in Russellville. You know, we've been in business since 1949. A dealership doesn't stay in business that long under the same ownership unless you're doing something right, and that's taking care of customers. We have the largest selection of new Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. So if you want the most for your trade, the best interest rate on financing, and the best price on a new or pre-owned automobile, come to Russellville and see us. We're at 1900 East Main, or visit us on the web at cogswellmotors.com.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz. We're joined by Jason Kilburn on the phone line and Maddie Lassiter in the studio. We're here at the RiverValleyLeader.com studios. I guess it's the Cogswell Motors studio. I called it the CogswellMotors.com studio the other day. Just meet in the middle. Of course, Cogswell Motors has a website. You can go check out all your new, used vehicle needs. They'll take care of you at Cogswell Motors. But here we are in the River Valley Leader offices, the Cogswell Motors studio, and we've got a lot of stuff to cover today on the Sports Blitz. Jason, we're talking NFL now. The kickoff is tomorrow, Broncos-Ravens. I don't know if you're as excited as I am, but I can't wait to watch Peyton Manning and Wes Welker hook up tomorrow night.
Man, I love football. Either NFL, college, high school, junior high, pee-wee. It doesn't matter, man. I'm a big football fanatic, too, and I am excited about the upcoming season. I think, of course, I'm a big Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, and I think, with the additions that we made this offseason, I think we'll be an upcoming team. But you're talking about that Thursday night game, tomorrow night's game, Baltimore at Denver, and, man, that's going to be a heck of a game. Everybody remembers, last year's game when Flacco threw that basically Hail Mary up, and the defensive back from Denver turned around, and I don't even know what he was doing. He wasn't even trying to make a play on the ball or something. He might have had money on the game or something. But everybody remembers that play, and I'm sure this game will be just as exciting as as last year's game.
Yeah, last year ended in a double overtime game, which I call the dirt-to-dirt game because he's got the game in hand, and all he has to do is pretty much the opposite of what he did, not fall down and give up a touchdown. If he stands up, if he doesn't fall down, he can pick that, just fair catch it. He can just stand there. But he tripped over his own feet, leads to a overtime where, granted, the Broncos had time and they had overtime to try to win the game. They weren't able to do it, and I was very disappointed. I'm a Broncos guy. I like Peyton Manning. I'm not a Broncos guy. I'm a Peyton Manning guy, Cowboys fan. So I was rooting for the Broncos, but either way, like you said, Jason, it's going to be a very interesting game tomorrow night. It kind of stinks for Baltimore that they don't get to open at home, but they've got some things going on there at their stadium, so they're not going to be able to open at home. They get to go travel to Denver again, which if I'm Baltimore, I'm probably not real happy about. But I wanted to get your thoughts on this because I saw that ESPN yesterday was doing a power rankings, which I've always liked power rankings in the NFL because, when I was a kid, I used to think, why do they not have the teams ranked? They have the teams ranked in college football. Why do they not have the teams ranked in the NFL? Because it doesn't matter. They've got the standings, and that's what matters because that's who makes the playoffs. But they had the top 5, something like this, Jason. Green Bay at number 5, Denver at number 4, San Francisco at number 3. Those are a lot of people's 2 and 1 at 4 and 3. Atlanta at number 2, and Seattle as the number 1 overall team. What do you think about that?
Seattle, Russell Wilson he's good. Don't get me wrong, but it all relies on him. I know they got Marshawn Lynch. They picked up Percy Harvin this offseason, to try to help out the receivers there. But I'm not a Pete Carroll fan. They've got a great defense, but I don't see where all the hype is coming with Seattle. Russell Wilson, he's good, man, but if he has a sophomore slump or anything, then they're shocked. They're a team that's just going down, in my opinion.
Yeah, see, I'm not as high on Seattle. The reason people are high on Seattle is because their defense is incredible. Their secondary is just stupid good. So I feel like Seattle's going to be good on the defensive side there, as long as nobody else gets hit with the steroid penalty and has to sit out 4 games like it happened last year. But I'm interested to see how Seattle's offense goes. Marshawn Lynch, I don't know how many hits he can take, and he's taken a whole bunch in his career, just the style of play that he employs. But I'm interested to see no Percy Harvin. They've got Sidney Rice is their best receiver. If Sidney Rice is your best receiver and Golden Tate, at some point I feel like your offense is going to get exposed, like you're saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not a Sidney Rice fan either. He's had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and he never stepped up to the plate for me.
Yeah, well, Seattle, I definitely don't agree with them being number 1 on the list. Matter of fact, I would put Atlanta and San Francisco both ahead of them, and probably Denver even. But I'm interested to see who is really going to rise to the top this year. It's hard for me. I looked at the betting lines the other day, and I thought about it. I'm thinking, if I'm a bettor, I'm taking Atlanta at 12-1 to win the Super Bowl when you've got teams like Seattle and San Francisco and Denver at like 5-1. Atlanta, with the defense that they've got now, their defense is going to be great. They're going to outscore a lot of teams. But when you've got Julio over here, Roddy over here, Steven Jackson in the backfield, Matt Ryan is your quarterback with Tony Gonzalez, your tight end, pick your poison. And I feel like they're going to do that to a lot of teams this year. I saw somebody on TV this morning picking New Orleans to beat them in the opening game. No, sir. Atlanta wins that game.
That's going to be a good game, especially at New Orleans and Sean Payton's coming back. But yeah, I'm with you. Atlanta has too many weapons on offense. They are loaded, like you're saying. Everywhere you look at running back, wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, they've got a top-tier player at every position. Now, if their defense can stop anybody, like you're saying, then I do see them making a way to maybe Super Bowl. But Matt Ryan, he's got to step up and be the quarterback that probably the Atlanta Falcon fans think he can become, because he's a good quarterback, but he's not great. And Weldon used to always say that there's a top flight quarterbacks and there's a not so top tier quarterbacks, and he never put him up in that echelon. And if for the Falcons to be good, he's got to make that next step to be a great quarterback.
Well, I feel like winning the playoff games that he won last year, he sort of cemented himself as, I don't necessarily want to call him elite, because right now there's Manning, Breeze, Brady, and Rodgers, who are the 4 elite. He's just on the outside, the precipice of that. I don't think that, Tebow. I don't think that Flacco, even winning a Super Bowl, is ever going to reach that level, because as strong an arm as he has, he just doesn't strike me as that type of quarterback. But Matt Ryan this year, he can really put himself in that conversation. He can make it a 5-man conversation with one season, and that's a unique opportunity for him. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the Atlanta Falcons play this year. That's my sleeper pick for the Super Bowl. Now, I've already said it's just going to be hard for me to go anywhere other than San Francisco because of all the weapons that they had, although the more I think about it, Jason and Maddie, the more I think that Colin Kaepernick caught everybody by surprise last year. That's no surprise to me that he was able to succeed now that I look back and think about it, because that read option, sort of, I guess Russell Wilson had success with it. RG3 had success with it. Colin Kaepernick just had an incredible defense, like an even better defense than those other guys around him. I feel like the league might catch up to him a little bit more this year, especially since they don't have any wide receivers. They've got Vernon Davis, and the other ones are hurt, Manningham and who's the other one? Crabtree. They do have Anquan Bolden, so I misspoke there. They do have a wide receiver. And then Frank Gore getting a little older, although they've got Kendall Hunter and the injured LaMichael James. As I looked at it, Jason, I thought, man, San Francisco has just got too much to be able to lose. But, the more I think about it, the more I think that Colin Kaepernick may come back to the pack a little bit this year.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great year, but, he only started, probably the last half of the season, maybe. Well, I guess it's a little bit more than half of the season. But that read option, man, is hard to stop, especially when you got Gore, or like you're saying, you put a LaMichael James in there, man, who is just fast. You read that option, and then you even fake that and throw to, Vernon Davis or whatever. It's going to be hard to stop. But San Francisco, they were so close last year, it seemed like. And I think with Kaepernick, apparently he had a really good offseason. And if he can get things going, I think they have a really good shot at winning it.
Well, this may be, sadly, it may be Denver and Peyton Manning's last hurrah. A lot of people, and Garrett was in here the other day, and he predicted and of course, it was a homer pick. And by homer, I mean Peyton Manning lover pick, which I'm a Peyton Manning guy. If I can't pick the Cowboys to win it, which I'm not stupid, I'm going Peyton Manning, and I want him to win it. So this may be his last hurrah, although he's got a pretty good defense. He's going to be missing Von Miller for 6 weeks. I wish that fax had gone through so they would have had Elvis Dumerville on the other side. But he's got Wes Welker. He's got the best offensive weapons at receiver, in my opinion, that he's ever had. Now, I know he had Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison, but now he's got 3 guys he can throw to. He's loaded offensively. Okay, I take it back. Indianapolis with Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, and either Adai or Edgerrin James are pretty good. So he's got some really good offensive weapons, though, and a lot of people are predicting that Peyton Manning and the Broncos can go deep. I really hope that they do.
The thing with Denver is, man, they don't have a running game. I think that's what's really holding them back. And I know Peyton Manning, he's a great thrower. He reads defenses good. But, man, I think that's what's really the Achilles heel there for Denver. Ever since that, man, I just went blank. What was that running back that they had that went to Washington?
From Denver? Oh, Clinton Portis?
Clinton Portis. Ever since then, man, it doesn't seem like they've had a solid running game. They might have a couple backs, you run 3 or 4 weeks in a row that have a good game, and then they'll go to somebody else, but they haven't had a consistent running back since Portis has left.
Yeah, well, you're right. Ronnie Hillman's your guy, and Monty Ball, a freshman, which I think Ball can be really good. It's just, did I say a freshman? Really, Mark? A rookie? As a rookie, I feel like if he's your guy, you're asking for a little bit of trouble, because the rookie in pass protection for Peyton Manning, chances are they're going to bring in Noshawn Moreno. He's going to get a little more carries there, and he's going to be more reliable. And Ronnie Hillman, I've never been his biggest fan because he's tiny. It's like handing the ball to Trendon Holiday back there, or Dexter McCluster. You're going to get him killed. One day they're going to figure out or find somebody. Maybe Monty Ball can be the guy by the end of the year who can come in there and play all 3 downs and be effective there for Peyton Manning. But I'm looking forward to a good season from the Broncos as well. You've mentioned, Jason, you've sent me a message here with some good games this weekend. I'm excited because as I looked at the noon games on Sunday, the NFL, they're sneaky, man. The way they've done their scheduling, there are some stinkers in there. There are some crappy games on Sunday. But then they snuck in 5 games just to whet our appetite, okay? They had a Thursday nighter, Denver-Baltimore. That's huge. Everybody's going to be watching it. They've got a good Monday night, 2 Monday night games. They've got a good Sunday night game, and then they've put a good game at both the noon and 3 o'clock times here in this area. You've got Atlanta, New Orleans, Green Bay, San Francisco, the New York Giants, and Dallas, and Philadelphia, Washington. All games that people around here will care a lot about.
You're exactly right. That was perfect scheduling there for the NFL. Just for the first week, get everybody pumped up about these games because all those are marquee games. They're all on prime time, times. I think it's a genius idea by the NFL.
Well, I've got. We just talked about Atlanta and New Orleans a minute ago, and it sounded like you were a little more on the New Orleans side than I was.
Man, I just Drew Brees with Sean Payton. I mean, I'm not a New Orleans Saints fan, of course, because I can't be because they're in the same division as Tampa. But man, it just seems like they were clicking when Sean Payton was there.
Yeah.
I know last year they had a down year and all, but it seems like if they get him back, I think they're going to start making some waves again.
Well, Rob Ryan, the new defensive coordinator, he did turn Dallas around in a couple of different ways. But one thing that I thought was interesting when I looked at the defense, the stats for Dallas last year, I think they gave up more 10-plus yard pass plays than anybody in the league last year. And they had Morris Claiborne and they had Brandon Carr. Now, their safeties were terrible, and they're going to have to get better there. But they gave up more long pass plays than anybody, and New Orleans has been terrible on defense for a while. Will Smith, their best defensive lineman, just tore his knee up. He's out for the year. So New Orleans, I think, is even going to get worse on defense. They can't be worse than last year statistically. But giving up the big play, I feel like that's going to be trouble for them against Atlanta. I've got Atlanta close in that one, although I would have said Atlanta by a touchdown or more, if you'd have made me pick it if it were at Atlanta. But since it's in New Orleans, I'll say it's close, but Atlanta will pull that one out. Green Bay, San Francisco. Jason, I want to get your thoughts. San Francisco, to me, has just got too much because Green Bay's defense isn't going to be able to hold up. Their offense is going to try to put some points on the board. San Francisco's defense is very, very good, and I feel like San Francisco is going to score just enough to win that game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It should be a good game, but it's at San Francisco, and San Francisco is just loaded, in my opinion. But as long as Aaron Rodgers is playing, he's always got a chance to win.
Definitely. Dallas has lost 4 games in a row to the Giants at Cowboy Stadium. They've at Jerry World, since it's been open, they have not beaten the Giants in Jerry World. Drives me nuts every year to watch. As last year they got down big, if I remember correctly, they got down big. Des Bryant had a touchdown catch where his elbow hit inbounds, but his arm hit out, and they couldn't really definitively call it, and they said he was out of bounds because that was what the original call was, and they couldn't overturn it. Dallas loses to the Giants. I feel like this year, finally, Dallas, my 8-8 homerism here for the Cowboys, I feel like they finally turn it around. They win the game against New York in their home opener at Jerry World. Do you think Dallas gets off the schneid?
For your sake, I hope so, but they had the worst offseason acquisition, I would say, of any NFL team, and that's when they re-signed Tony Romo.
Oh, come on now. I'd take Tony Romo over half the league. I'd take him over your quarterback.
See, we didn't re-sign our quarterback, so...
You still got him, though. Josh Freeman's over there. I like Josh Freeman, but I'd take Tony Romo over him. Hey, we'll see this year. So you've got the Giants winning the game.
I'm probably going with the Giants in that one.
Go for it, punk. We'll wait till Monday. I'll be just... All right, I'm just playing. And then Philadelphia, Washington... RG3 is going to make his return. I am rooting hard for Philadelphia to win this game because I feel like Washington is going to be the biggest challenge for Dallas in the division, in my opinion. I think Dallas is going to win the division if Washington will take a step back. So I'm hoping that Philadelphia can. Their defense is awful, just terrible. I'm hoping Philadelphia can jump all over Washington and win that game, get RG3 off to a bad start in his second year, and Dallas can take advantage and win on Sunday night. These are all selfish desires. So I'm rooting for Philadelphia, although I feel like Washington will win the game.
Man, that should be a really good game. I'm anxious to see what a Chip Kelly offense really looks like. Preseason you've had a little bit here and there of, what his offense will look like. But I'm anxious to see, with Michael Vick back there, a healthy LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson. I think I like Philadelphia. I just hope their defense holds up a little bit. But RG3, man, I'm anxious to see how he comes back from his knee surgery too. So. And their backup is not bad either.
Kirk Cousins.
What's his name?
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, he's not bad either. So if RG3 struggles at all, I'd put Cousins in, man. Cousins looked real good in the preseason, I thought.
He has been really good, and I feel like he will be good in the future too. All right, guys, we're going to take our final break. We're going to look at the Arkansas Razorbacks. They're playing Samford this week. I've almost said Stanford about 12 different times this week. They're playing S-A-M, Ford, Samford, on Saturday. Look to get a big win in the Rock. We're going to break that game down in just a moment.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
Over 69 years of treating you like family, Peters Family Living's main goal is customer service. That is their promise to their customers. They offer in-house financing on furniture and appliances and a 30-day money-back guarantee. For a friendly, no-pressure atmosphere, visit Peters Family Living today at 201 North Arkansas Avenue, Russellville. Online at petersfamilyliving.com or call 479-968-2929.
If you didn't count on KARK4 today this morning,
Here's what you missed.
updated news,
Police continue searching for suspects after a home intrusion overnight.
developing stories,
There's another piece of presidential history turning up here in Arkansas.
and weather and traffic on the force.
Friday night, Saturday morning will bring us our next chance of rain.
Every 10 minutes.
Around the clock.
Making your day easier.
So rise and shine and count on.
Count on.
Count on KRK4 today.
Hi folks, Richard Roberts with Cogswell Motors in Russellville. You know, we've been in business since 1949. A dealership doesn't stay in business that long under the same ownership unless you're doing something right, and that's taking care of customers. We have the largest selection of new Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. So if you want the most for your trade, the best interest rate on financing, and the best price on a new or pre-owned automobile, come to Russellville and see us. We're at 1900 East Main, or visit us on the web at cogswellmotors.com.
Are we back? Yes. You need to play that on Friday. That gets me excited. It's the fight song for the Razorbacks. They're playing Saturday against Samford, coming off a 34-14 win over ULL. Jason, have we talked about your thoughts about the ULL game yet?
Yeah, I called in on
Okay.
What day was it? Monday. I called in Monday.
I was just making sure. I didn't want to pass you over there with your thoughts on the ULL game. Yeah, that's right, because you were as excited as I was about some of the Collins and Henry and some of those other guys. Looking forward to a good game. Well, not a good game, a good performance from the Razorbacks this Saturday against Samford. For those that don't know, Samford is an FCS school. They really don't stand a chance, and they know it. That's one of those, it's a payday game, and this isn't like a UL Monroe payday game where last year everybody thought Arkansas was going to win and they lost. This is one of those where Arkansas is pretty much going to name the score, and there are some things that I'm looking for this week that are a little different than I'll look for any other time. And Jason, before I get into my thoughts, what are your thoughts on this type of game?
Man, I just see Arkansas just dominating both lines of scrimmage. I'll be very disappointed if they don't. I think we should, like you're saying, we should be able to just say, all right, if we want it to be 50-0, let's make it 50-0. If we want it to be 35-0, let's make it that. I think that this team is, like you're saying, it's an FCS school, and I just don't see how any way in the world there's going to be an upset. I don't see how they're even going to be close to the game. Arkansas should just dominate this game, in my opinion. If we don't win, say 52-10 or something like that, then I'll be actually disappointed if we don't win that bad.
Let me just give you a little context to what I'm trying to say here. How big would you say, Jason, that Arkansas's defensive tackles are? You've got Robert Thomas and who's the other one? Is it
Byron Jones.
Byron Jones. How much do you think they weigh? Both of those guys? About 330 probably at least?
I'm sorry?
How much do you think both of those guys weigh?
Probably, I think Jones is around 310, and I think Thomas is like 325 or something like that.
Well, just for a little bit of context into this, the center and the right guard, who are probably going to have to double team one of those guys, 266 is how much the center weighs for Samford. Their right guard's 295. Their left guard is 304. Their left tackle is 302. And their right tackle weighs 274 pounds. Trey Flowers and Chris Smith are going to thrash these offensive linemen. There's absolutely no way that they're going to be able to keep the defensive line off the quarterback, which means that the linebackers aren't going to have to be as good as they will be in the future, which means the secondary is not going to have to cover near as long, which means Samford's in a lot of trouble. So I'm looking for a good performance from the Razorbacks because of that.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said. I just don't see how it's going to be a close game. You know, and I think next week's game when they play Southern Miss, I just don't see how that's going to be a close game either.
No, it's not.
But you're talking about the defensive line. You know, that's the strength of our team. You know, and you've got two humongous guys in the middle that we were just talking about, Jones and Thomas, and then you got Flowers and Smith, who I was pumping Smith all preseason long that he was the best, the second best defensive end in the SEC. You know, I thought he was just going to be all-world, which I still think he's going to be good. But I think Trey Flowers is better than Chris Smith.
He's a pro. He really is. He's huge too. So I'm looking. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. My question about this type of game though is, really what good does it do you? You can name the score. You can get your guys out of there. Can you really prepare? Maybe you can get your guys some confidence, and maybe that's more valuable than anything. Get them out there on the field and let them just dominate somebody. Maybe that helps your linebackers and your defensive backs. But at the end of the day, maybe they get a false sense of security in how they do because they're just going to kill Samford. And the defensive backs, the linebackers, they're not really going to get a good look. That's why I think it's good that they got the look that they got last week because they're not going to get another one next week either. Southern Miss lost to Texas State, and they're terrible too. So Rutgers will be the first test. And you go to Piscataway, and you play a team who isn't great. They lost their first game, but they scored 51 points in their first game. It's going to be a little bit of culture shock for these linebackers and defensive backs when they see, oh, this is what high Division I looks like. This is where things change. So I do like the way they work into the schedule. I'm interested to see how this game goes. But this weekend, going to the Rock, one thing that I want to see, we don't have time to really get into the great stadium debate, Jason, but I'm interested to see what Brett Bielema has to say after the first trip to Little Rock. I'm sure that he's going to change his tune as far as, it's great to play there. We love the atmosphere, but I'm wondering about what he's going to say about the travel to a home game.
Yeah, one other thing real quick. You're talking about what can Arkansas get out of this game. I think, with our linebackers, I think they need to play as much as possible. You need to keep Austin Jones in there. You need to keep Jarrett Lake in there. You need to keep Braylon Mitchell in there. But I think with the defensive line, probably most of the offensive line, put your younger guys in and try to give them some game experience so we can build depth for the future. Because I think last year, one of our biggest problems was they kept Tyler Wilson in the game every single game, which didn't give Brandon Allen any, game situations, where he could have been, instead of just throwing him out there against Alabama. I know Wilson was hurt in that game, but I think you've got to build depth for the future, not necessarily just for the program, but and also for the future of the season.
Yeah, well, I'm looking. Exactly, I agree with what you're saying there. I'm looking forward to seeing how Brett Bielema deals with the whole situation of the game being against a team that they should just absolutely kill. I wonder if he'll run the score up just to try to get himself some more votes. Arkansas, if you look at the teams receiving votes, Arkansas is roughly 40th in the poll. They got not a first place vote, a top 25 vote. So they're able to at least say we're on the page now. They want to move on up. I think if they go 4-0 into Texas A&M, that'll be a ranked matchup because Texas A&M, the network is not stupid, and the people they would want them to be 24-25 at least, so that it's two ranked teams playing on TV. I'm excited about that Texas A&M game. If Arkansas can do what I think it can against Rutgers, I'm already looking ahead 2 games here. So we've got a lot of time between now and then. But Jason, are you going to the game Saturday?
No, I'm not going to the game Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I don't get Little Rock games. I just got Fayetteville games.
Yeah, Maddie's going to the game, so he'll tell us how it went on Saturday. I don't even know. Are you going to watch the pay-per-view?
Yeah. I've already ordered it.
Well, I may come to your house.
Come on.
May invite myself to the Kilburn residence because I'm not paying for that thing. I paid for it last year. All my broke scum friends didn't pay me back either. bunch of jerks. No, I'm just playing. We have no time left on the show today, so we'll have to leave you for the day, but we'll be back on Friday. We'll look at high school football games again in a little greater detail. And we've got a couple of Pottsville tickets that we needed to give away. Some folks won for answering our poll question. Well, that's actually a trivia question today. We asked who was the first Razorback to score, or who scored the first 2 Razorback touchdowns. It's kind of a trick question because Javonte Herndon scored them both. So we got a couple folks who answered those questions. You can come by the 1509 East Main Suite 4 office and pick up your 2 Pottsville Apaches tickets. And we look forward to being back on Friday with you. But for Jason, who's on the phone, and Maddie here in studio, I'm Mark. So long. We'll see you Friday at 11 o'clock. RiverValleyLeader.com for more Sports Blitz.